Hello, and thank you for viewing the Social Security Administration's pre-recorded webinar on our new access and registration for business services online. We hope this is helpful to those of you who could not attend one of our scheduled live webinars. My name is Christina Wilson-Malia, and I'm the Earnings Support Branch Manager in Central Operations, and I'm also the Earnings Product Manager as part of the Social Security Administration's Digital Modernization Strategy. A PDF with all of the information from the pre-recorded session, including resource links, is available on our Business Services online website. Our website also has a frequently asked questions document that contains questions from our live webinars, as well as customer support contact information if you have any additional questions or require further assistance. This webinar will focus on Social Security's access and registration for business services online employer services. We will be discussing registration and authentication changes affecting wage reporting. We are fortunate to have our agency subject matter experts with us to speak on this topic. All business services online users must authenticate their identity in order to do business with us for employer services. This means that any user needing to submit W-2s or W-2C corrections using our wage file upload, W-2, W-2C online application, AccuWage Online, our Social Security number verification, or needing to view wage report name and Social Security number errors, you must authenticate your identity first. You will not be able to use these services without authenticating. We will be walking through the authentication process in this webinar. Let's begin with electronic filing. Electronic filing with the Social Security Administration is free, fast, and secure. Additional information regarding our electronic filing can be found on ssa.gov/employer/firstfilers.htm. You will find information that is especially helpful for first-time filers regarding electronic filing, as well as other important information. The filing deadline for filing Forms W-2 and W-3 with the Social Security Administration is January 31st. As a reminder, as part of the Taxpayer First Act, final regulations have been issued by the Internal Revenue Service that reduce the electronic filing threshold from 250 W-2s to 10 informational returns, such as Forms W-2 or 1099, beginning in January 2024. This is an aggregate total of the informational returns. You must file electronically unless the IRS grants you a waiver or exemption. More information can be found on our website at ssa.gov/employer/taxpayer.html and clicking on our Taxpayer First Act tab at the top of the page. More information on the Taxpayer First Act can be found on IRS's website at irs.gov. Filing electronically completes your wage reporting obligation, and there is no need to send paper documents. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Matthew Newton, who is a technical advisor in Central Operations. Matt?
A credential from one of our partners is required to access business services online for wage reporters. If you don't have an account, register today and do not wait. New users will face a 2+ week mail time for activation codes in addition to anything related to credentials. Users with existing accounts will still need a credential to access their BSO account. Existing users with a BSO account and a credential, test your account now and ensure you have your new credentials set up and working. Users without an SSN, with or without a foreign address, can register to use business services online. You may be able to access our BSO wage reporting services by creating or using an existing ID.me account. Access to the BSO application requires multi-factor authentication. ID.me is a single sign-on provider that meets the U.S. government's most rigorous requirements for online identity proofing and authentication. To register, you must start at ssa.gov/BSO. In the Employer section and select the Create Account link to verify your identity with ID.me. Self-employed users without an EIN. Existing BSO wage reporting account holders are grandfathered in. You will still need a credential to access BSO for wage reporters. You need a login.gov or ID.me account to access your existing BSO account. New BSO wage reporting users will be unable to register without an EIN. You need an EIN to register under either your own as self-employed or for an employer who has an EIN. You will need to file on paper or file a Form SS4 with IRS to acquire an EIN. This can take several weeks, so it would not be an option to register and file electronically in a timely manner. Both new and existing users will need a login.gov or ID.me credential to access both new and existing BSO for wage reporters accounts. You'll need to start from the BSO welcome page shown on the screen here, ssa.gov/BSO. BSO for wage reporters is for those who need to submit W-2s to SSA. This would be an employer, an employee submitting on behalf of your employer, a sole proprietor, a volunteer, or a third party who submits on behalf of other companies. You will want to scroll and find the Employer section on the BSO welcome page. Locate the Sign In or Create Account link as appropriate. Don't wait. This can take 2 weeks or more to receive an activation code if you're a new BSO user. Again, you must start at the BSO welcome page. If you have a login.gov or ID.me account, use the Sign In link. If you don't have an account, use the Create Account link. This is the page you'll see after navigating to the Sign In link from the BSO welcome page. You have boxes for signing in using your login.gov or ID.me credential. The My SSA login screen looks similar, so verify you navigated here from the ssa.gov/BSO page, and if you do end up on your My SSA account, just log out and point your browser to ssa.gov/BSO. Scroll to the Employer box and select the Sign In link. If you already have a BSO for wage reporter account, it's still active. You just need one of these credentials I just mentioned to access it or create a new BSO for wage reporter account. Your employer will not have access to your personal information. Some of the requirements for creating an online account. You may need the following to create an account: a valid email address, your social security number, a US mailing address unless you're using ID.me, a working mobile device to receive text messages, your driver's license, your full legal name as listed on your social security card, and passport information. If you're having difficulty with access and registration, there's several options to choose for help. The login.gov Help Center is available at https://login.gov/contact. The ID.me Help Center is available at https://help.id.me/hc/en-us. And finally, SSA's Employer 800 number is available at 1-800-772-6270. The TTY number for those who need assistance is 1-800-325-0778. Now slow down, take your time. Please navigate through the authentication process carefully. A simple keying mistake could cause an authentication error and lock you out of the system. When uploading images of your driver's license, please be sure to upload a clear picture of the front and back. A blurry picture may cause authentication issues. Make sure you're using your full legal name that's recorded on your driver's license and social security card. Be prepared to verify your identity and accept the terms of service every time you sign in for business services. Your personal and business accounts are separate. It is your personal credential which allows access, not anything your employer possesses, which is why we verify who you are. Your employer cannot view your personal social security account. Now, I'd like to remind you, you need to scroll to the employer selection and select Sign In or Create Account from this section to log into BSO. I'd now like to turn it over to my colleague, Mia Paler, a project manager from SSA in the digital identity area.
Hello, my name is Mia Paler, and I support the digital identity efforts at SSA as a product manager in the Office of the Chief Information Officer. Digital identity establishes confidence that you are who you claim to be online and enables online access by authorized external customers. Digital identity protocols allow us to protect our online services and the public. In March 2023, we implemented changes to how you access BSO employer services. You now must create a credential with login.gov or ID.me to access BSO employer services. This is similar to efforts at other government agencies that are requiring credentials to access their online services, such as the IRS. Prior to March 2023, we collected your name, date of birth, SSN, physical address, as well as your email and phone number to create a BSO user ID. We will talk about how you will identity proof now when creating a login.gov credential. Before reviewing the process for creating a credential with login.gov, I want to review the difference between authentication and authorization, as there is an important distinction. Authentication is the process of verifying who someone is. There is no relationship to your employer. We want to know who you are. We will check a person's details to identify them and verify your credentials. For example, a person must authenticate themselves before accessing business services online, or BSO. Authorization is the process of verifying what someone has access to. This is where your organization would determine your roles, meaning what you have access to. Today, this is connected to your BSO activation code and user ID. This checks the user's privileges to access resources and validates a user's permissions. For example, a user can only access services based on roles that are delegated to them by someone within the business organization. In the following slides, I will review how you can create a credential with login.gov so you can report wages for your organization. Step 1. On the Social Security Administration homepage found at www.ssa.gov, scroll down to the bottom, look for the Services For section, and then select the Employers and Businesses link. You will be presented with the Employer W-2 filing instructions and information page. Step 2. On this page, you will select the Business Services Online button. You will then be presented with the Business Services Online Welcome page, also known as the BSO Welcome page. While on the BSO Welcome page, you will need to scroll down to the Employer section to select Sign In or Create Account. In this case, we will be walking through the process of creating an account with login.gov. After selecting the Create Account link, you will see various options to sign in or create a credential. If you already have an account with login.gov or ID.me, which provides you with a credential, you don't have to create a new one. You can sign in using the login.gov or ID.me credential that you have. In this scenario, you have chosen the Create an Account with login.gov link. After completing the account creation process with login.gov, you will have a login.gov credential. As mentioned before, you can also choose to create an account with ID.me or use your existing ID.me account. If you are creating an account with ID.me, select Create an Account with ID.me, then follow ID.me's credentialing process. Once you complete login.gov or ID.me's credentialing process, you will be returned back to Business Services Online, where we will present a Terms of Service screen explaining how SSA will use your information, and you will be asked to accept the terms. You may see this type of language for other sites where you are trying to sign in or access information. After selecting Accept, you will be presented with another screen. After agreeing to the terms of service, You will receive the Privacy Act statement and will need to select Next to move on to the BSO User ID screen. You have now completed the identity proofing process and are ready to associate with your BSO account. You will have the option to associate your new credential with a BSO user ID that you established previously with an EIN, or you can create a new BSO user ID. Remember, you will no longer use this BSO user ID to log in, as you will need the login.gov or ID.me credential that you created. The BSO main menu will display the services you are able to access. Remember, it is important that you act now, as you must have a valid Social Security online account, that's a login.gov or ID.me credential, to report wages electronically in January. Next, I'll turn the presentation back over to Christina.
Thank you, Mia. The information you provided was very informative and much appreciated. We have mentioned a lot of resource information so far. I also want to let you know about a new web page on Business Services Online, which is available on our Employer W-2 filing instructions and information page located at ssa.gov/employer. And by clicking on our BSO Access and Registration tab located at the top of the page. The BSO Access and Registration webpage can be found throughout our employer website and is located in the banner on the top of the page. The Access and Registration page also shows additional paths depending on your specific situation. There is a substantial amount of information available on Business Services Online. I would encourage you to access our website to learn more. Now for some important reminders. As Matt mentioned earlier, and as an important reminder, an activation code is required before you can access our Business Services Online suite of services on behalf of your employer. The activation code is mailed to the IRS business address on file for the employer. If this address needs to be updated, you will need to work with the IRS to have the IRS business address on file updated. We strongly encourage you to start the registration and authentication process now and not to wait. It may take up to 2 weeks to complete the registration process. Now moving on to our customer outreach and support information. This slide provides contact information for any assistance that may be needed regarding the credential and identity verification process. Our employer website that we've referenced multiple times throughout today's webinar has a wealth of information, including tips and resource materials to assist you with navigating SSA's access and registration process for Business Services Online. If you have any questions or issues with login.gov, please contact the login.gov Help Center by visiting https://login.gov/contact. If you have any questions related to ID.me, please contact their live virtual help via the URL listed, and that is located at https://help.id.me/hc/en-us. Again, for any questions regarding wage reporting, access and registration, contact our Employer 800 number at 1-800-772-6270. Our TTY number is 1-800-325-0778. Representatives are available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Employer Reporting Service will not be able to assist with any questions regarding the credential and identity verification process. You will need to contact login.gov or ID.me as appropriate. I'd like to take a moment to thank our presenters for sharing their subject matter knowledge and expertise with us, including Mia Paler and the Digital Identity team, and Matthew Newton and the entire earnings team in Central Operations, as well as our colleagues in communications for their assistance with this pre-recorded webinar. We hope that you found this webinar informative. On behalf of the Social Security Administration, we extend our gratitude to all of you for viewing our pre-recorded webinar.